All right, we'll start now. Oh, yeah. So I was just asking the class if anyone sent me anything because I haven't received anything, but that's okay. Yeah, it was just Fatima that had sent me stuff and just making sure I got that right. Please let me know if you sent something to me. Oh, hang on.
Rose, my iPad smashed and I've lost all of my artwork.
No.
It won't back up. I can't get it to restore. So I'm so sad. So I don't have my iPad today.
Oh no, but all the works that you've done, like all of your commercial works and that, is that all gone?
Well, all of the original files are gone. I've got some of the exported files, but yeah, basically the screen smashed and they gave me a replacement iPad and they erased my old one and I had a backup from iCloud, but I've been trying to back it up for a week and it just won't restore. So it's gone. So a word of warning to anyone.
Oh no.
Back them up somewhere else.
Oh,
I know.
did you have them backed up on your iCloud?
Yeah, that's where they were, but it doesn't and afterwards I looked into it and apparently it's a big issue with Savage Interactive who do Procreate. They don't have a cloud to back up from Procreate servers. So it all goes onto iCloud. But then when you try and restore it from iCloud, because it's such a big, I had 25 gig of data, it just, iCloud for some reason can't actually restore the data. And so now it's just, I'm still hoping I might be able to get it back, but it's been a week and it's not loading.
Oh. Well, look,
so I don't have my iPad today either, so I'll just have to follow along without it.
Oh no! Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, hopefully it's better by next week, which is the last lesson. But I'll ask my husband during the break because he's the one that does all of the computer stuff. I do all of the Procreate stuff. I don't know any of the other stuff, so maybe he can help you there.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. I'm coming to terms with it, but yeah, just so everyone else knows, learn from my mistakes. Back your stuff up somewhere else as well, not just in the Procreate app.
Yeah. Oh goodness. Oh, well, we'll start. I think everyone's here. I just got something from Oliver, but he's not in class yet. Maybe he's just running a bit late. But we'll just get started. And sorry, last week, as some of you found out, I went over class by about over 15 minutes and I didn't realize because I was so into it. So what I'll do for those people that missed out last week, would you like, I can go over that past 15 minutes again, unless you've all read it and are ready to go on. So who wasn't here? Sue had to leave.
Yeah, I watched the video.
Sorry, you watched the video?
I watched the video, so I'm okay.
You're okay? And was there anyone else that wasn't able to stay when I extended the class, but has watched it on the video?
Yes, I've watched it too, Rose, so it's all good.
Okay. And Josephine, I think you weren't able to stay as well?
I think I stayed.
Yeah.
I think I did stay, but I've been a bit busy, so I haven't watched the video. So if I feel like I'm missing it, I'll make sure I watch the video on the weekend.
All right. Well, I'll just continue it for a little bit because I wanted to get. Oh, sorry. Was I speaking over someone?
Sorry, no. I just I'm having difficulties saving the YouTube videos. I don't know why. Like I have a premium membership, but for some odd reason, like I downloaded the other videos because how you said that we can keep them for like up to 6 months or something, or like how does it work?
Well, it's me that does it. So Nas doesn't make videos, but I said, please let me make a video because people are just going to forget. There's so much. So they're actually my videos, and I let you download them because it's like they're just going to get destroyed. They should be there all the time. Like I never delete them, and so they should be always on. or you
Okay,
can
but I just
download them. I just don't know how you download them, but they'll
okay.
always be there.
I don't know if anyone is willing to give their tips, because I did try and download them and it worked last time, but this time around when I wanted to download the recent video, it just wouldn't work. And I'm like, okay, I've done something wrong, or I couldn't even find where my downloads were. So I have to look into it, just because I don't want to lose them, because they are an investment. You know, to go back and you know remember what we've been taught. You know, like I've already forgotten the layers. You know, the last.
Yeah.
And I need to watch that video again.
Well, I won't be downloading them for a while, like until YouTube say stop uploading videos, you got too much space. I'll just make another account and keep my old account, which you have the link to log into, so it should always be there. But
Right,
yeah, I won't download them. Yeah,
okay.
I won't delete them. Delete
Yeah.
them, but you know, maybe watch a YouTube video on how you do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that they'll be there for as long as they let me. And Oliver, I saw you just come into class. Welcome.
Good.
So yours, I got your I got your sheet with the body and the faces on it. So what we'll do is I'll wait for, if there's more people that send me and stuff, I'll wait for that and I'll download it in the break and then I'll go through it.
Fine. Thank you.
Fine. And Tommy's here as well. So just checking, Tommy, were you here last week? I think you may have left and didn't see the end of the body workshop.
No, I was there.
Oh, you were there?
Yeah, with the classes for the whole lessons. Yeah, so I ran through all the procedures as well.
Okay, excellent. All right, so you're all kind of comfortable with where I left off. I just want to show you a couple more things. Is that okay for me to go ahead with everybody?
Yes, please. Yep.
Okay. All right. So it's just a couple more little things, little cool things that that's my dog's nose there. Little things that will help train you with the Procreate, like with this whole setup, so you can be better at drawing. And what I wanted to show you was, it's hot now. Because we've got a big drawing painting day today. So we left off just quickly going through. We realized there was 10 heads. And what else did we do? We went through the cone shape and the twirly whirlies that we did there. What else did I want to just go over? And the body can be divided up into 8 heads. And these are usually the marks where the heads are. So they coincide, with approximately below the knee, from your ankle to below the knee is approximately 2 1/4 heads. So just making sure that still is clear for everyone. Yeah, it makes sense. You don't have to know it straight away, but as long as you know what I mean by that. And then lastly, we did the curves. So this is where we were last week. So we were doing all that. And so from that, the last one I wanted to show you, which I started on last week, which was the curves. So when you have a figure in front of you, whether it's a piece of paper you're looking at or a live figure in front of you, take the time where you can actually dissect and start to realize how these shapes are made. And the one here, I guess it's the one where the underpants is. That I usually put together as just kind of like a tub. So something like that. So you have your big, you know, cylinder up here and your big tub, or how you'd call it, down here. So this one would be probably, that's what it looks like behind. That's going behind, and it would sit here and it gets squashed. So it ends up being kind of like underpants or this kind of shape. Okay, but very, very basic. As long as you've got the shapes, all of the arms and the legs, and you know which way they're going. You could have the same leg and it be going, someone would see it going front or back. You decide, you'll get to know, like obviously this one's coming from the front, but, and this one's coming from, you know, this one's pushing kind of back, but the knee is down here. So that's why you can see this part open rather than this part, this top part open, and see inside. But that'll all make sense as you keep doing it, and then one day it's going to go click and you'll know about it. So that's the first thing I would start practicing over and over and over again. And for the hands, I would just like go over the straight edges. So just see here, find the angles and then just put them together. And then one day after, you know, a bit of practice from doing everything else, you start to realize, okay, there's the hand, like that. And you'll start off with basic shapes. And as you repeat those basic shapes by tracing them over and over again, you realize, oh, okay, those angles equals this. This is what's happening. So it's a very non-traditional way of learning figurative drawing, but I think it's easier because you don't know names. You're not talking about names. You're just concentrating on shapes that you repeatedly make that are in different formations. So you know what they look like in 3D, and eventually you'll start to memorize that. The other trick that you can do is, I might do it on a female body. I don't know if you still have the female images that I had sent, but if you don't, it's okay. I'll do the demo here. I'll just grab in one of the images. And insert photo. It was a few weeks ago. So this lady here. So as you can see, I've just cut them from Pinterest. So Pinterest is that app that, you know, allows you to get so many photos. I just screenshot them and just keep bringing them into Procreate. And actually a good one, I'll just go onto Pinterest now and I'll show you where I get these images from. So Pinterest, I'll just go back to the beginning, and I usually put reference figure for drawing. So reference figure, and then I put drawing, reference figure drawing, and it comes up with all of these, so that you can dissect and have kind of like, for instance, this one here, you can see how this one's broken up. Or if that's it's looking too generic, there's no actual people here, let's look up reference figure drawing photo. Now here we go. So these are the kind of things that you want, these kind of images where there are people, you know, they're either naked or they have, you know, thin clothes on them, that so that you can see the figure. There's another one. There's one of the hand. And I take that method further on and I do things like hands. That's how I learned to draw hands, break it up into all the different, you know, moving bits and see how they connect together. And for instance, hands, there's all these like little notes on how to break it up. But yeah, so things like that, you know, little images of people, or here, life drawing poses, models. This is all in Pinterest. So just, grab them up, do the click, and there you go. Trace over them over and over and over again. So that one I did of the woman, I wanted to show you another shortcut. So there she is. Remember, there's the blue line around her. I'm going to make her as big as I can. Oops, I made her too big. There we go, as big as she can. So after you've done the sectioning of the parts, so the big, cones, the other thing I do is practice this. So I will just bring her down a little bit. So she's a little bit less dark, so she's got some opacity to her. And I do another layer, and I get my pen and I do the coil around her. So here she is. I did the coil around her head. Coil around her torso. And the coil, which is kind of like her underpants, going down here. And then I do the coil of her legs. And I'm trying to keep them, look, it's hard to do this and keep accurate, but following those volumes that we did when we manually drew in those cone shapes. It's a bit hard to see through her clothing. And this one here. So they'll overlap the coils. And again, for the hands, I'm just going to follow the angles. And when I turn the bottom off, we have her there. And that looks like a whole lot of mess. But because you've practiced in drawing in those cones, now when you go to draw her in, you can be like, oh yes, I recognize this. I recognize the cone. I'm just going to go over it. There we go. And there's her head. Okay, there's that middle line. And you can go over the arms. Okay, there's that arm. And where's her join? Let's find her join. Okay, there's the circle. And I think it's going that way. So you go and identify the joins. And then we've got one here. There's her other arm. I'll just see where the join is. Okay, the join is going there. So I can see that one is going there. Here comes the arm. And this one is going this way. So can you see how it starts to, it's a rough drawing. And then we've got this one that starts here. There we go, it's going that way, following that circle. And this one is following that circle. And the body starts making some formation. So you're not seeing anatomy, you're not saying, oh, okay, I'm doing the trapezius, I'm doing this. You're not seeing that at all. That's all completely not necessary now. You're finding the body and you're finding how those forms fit. So for this one you can see she's thrusting out that her torso area. and she is balancing. Look how she's balancing on this line. Find the connection. There it is. And figure out which way those circles are turning down or turning up. And this will make sense to those who aren't familiar, so that you can become a figurative drawer and make sense of what you're doing. So you can start connecting all the clues, and then you start realizing, oh, okay, that's it. Oh, we didn't do her feet. Again, the feet are just outlines, but not very careful outlines. They're like outlines that are very angular. So it's the angles that you see. So you go from that. And then once you get better at that, you'll start to actually draw. If you're in a live drawing session, you'll start to draw like this. Like you'll start to make images that are based on this circle. So you can go really fast like that, squiggles. You'll know then to do the torso, and then you'll know, okay, there's the hip area and there's the leg, and you'll see if that leg's sticking out, you can then go, oh, okay, it's going like this. She's kicking the leg out, and even though that thigh looks small, looks very small, it should, if it was going straight down, it'd be all the way here, but it's looking small because you can see the top of that circle there, and there's another circle there. That's her thigh. I just making sure this makes sense. Does that make sense? That's her thigh, and this is her thigh here. Okay, but she's kicking it out. She's kicking it out, so it's longer. Oh, there it is. I see it. So they are exactly the same thighs, but one is pushing forward to me because I can see the opening there, and that's the back. This one is kicking the other way because I can see the top of her thigh there. And this knee is actually bent around, so it starts opening there and it ends there, because that she's kicking out, and this one she's kicking straight ahead, and that is the smaller thigh here. And just imagine that that's her foot. This one looks a bit wrong, but can you see what I mean? I just want you to let me know if this is making sense to you, this coil method, because I can see, okay, that's going long. And this is the same thing, but coming towards you. See how this one's shorter? So talk to me, let me know, does this make sense?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah?
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that to me, I found that really easy way to learn life drawing. Of course, you'll have to, continue on, but you'll at least have that rhythm of these circles and the knowledge of knowing how those cones interact and foreshorten, because that's the thing, people learn all of their skills with the body and everything, but once they foreshorten, people get very confused. And one more thing, so am I okay to go on past this?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So another thing is line in drawing. So I think I mentioned this with your life drawings. What you could do is, say, for instance, who should we get? I might get this man over here because he's got quite a dynamic pose. So I'll take everything away from him and I'll put him on full color. So it depends on the photo or the person that you're drawing, how much light is there, but this is where light makes a difference. Do you see all the light on him? Like some part like this area, we can see with his arm here, that's a dark area. and that's a light area, and so on. And remember the pens that I show you. So we'll just turn this one up. Put a pen on, or a pencil. Just, yeah, so this is a pencil. So this famous one that I'm always saying, that's quite boring. That is, actually, that's not a very good one. Okay, that's more interesting because that just gives us a flat line. That gives us the sense of like a heaviness or maybe a darkness. And this is, you know, lightness, thinness up here. So we can use that trick in life drawing when we have, you know, when we want to make a line interesting and perhaps show light, show depth, show tension. So tension is, you know, like tension and relaxation, like that. Those can make, that's another, you know, drawing language that you can interpret with your drawing. So thinking about that, let's go back to our man. If I scribbled all over him. Oh no. Okay, let's lighten him just a little bit. And this is a nice thing too, Fatima, with fabric. So you could use this for fabric, and it takes your fabric on clothes from being just, you know, weighted to something that's flowy or heavy. You can, you know, tell the viewer what's going on. Yeah. So it's just a little trick I do. So when you go, you know, once you've done your circles and once you've done your cones and you've rubbed everything out and you've got the outline ready to roll, what you can do is areas that are light, you go and you press light. So maybe I'll do it with a different pen. So a nice pen that's going to go from dark to light and thick to thin. So I'd say in calligraphy, water pen, shale brush is nice. Where is it? Yeah, see that? And even nice, you know, when you see simplified drawings, there's just a line, but it looks like a body. It's really pretty. So let's do it on him. So I'd say for this size, that's way too thick. Do that in a black. I'll do it in that. I'll do it in red. Okay. See this? See how I can go really thin, but it's thicker. But that's the thickest. I think that's a nice size for something like this. So, you know, orientate your pencil to what you're doing. Okay. This is a little bit tricky because, you know, he's got fingers. I won't worry in that too much, but you could go quite thinly here and, you know, in the thin areas, break up the line. Okay, these are all quite thin. One long line in your thin areas. Here I don't know much, but I'll just kind of pretend that it goes on there. We're still very thin. And then here you can see it starts to get dark. So I'll make it a little bit darker. And here's quite dark. And then I'll start over here, it's a bit thin. But then as we get to this area down here, you can see that's in light. That's in a lot of darkness. And down here, it's quite thin, much light. But as we get down here, it gets a little bit darker. And especially here, see, we've gone from something that's light to something that's dark. Give it that the full ball, it gets a bit lighter. It gets a bit darker down here. Let's go back up here. Now this area, quite dark. And up here, we get quite thin. Join them up. And under here is quite dark. So I might put this little muscle in, trace over this muscle. A little bit light there. Then we've got something really dark here. And up here, it's quite dark, it's in the shadow. And then we come to thin here. And then I'll just finish off this top arm. So here's a bit confusing because that's quite dark there, and both of the sides are light. So let's just go with it, see what happens. It's quite dark there. I might just leave it as is. And his face is quite light. And then let's take it off. So see, it gives you the darks and the lightness. And usually that's because either, you know, the sun's coming this way, and you'll notice here I've automatically done the darks in that area. But what it also does is areas that you think that have tension. So obviously he's balancing, and most of the tension in his body is something that will make it dark as well. And that kind of highlights, as I keep saying, the tension of his body. It's showing that that part is tense, where he's a lot lighter in this area. So if this was fabric or something, the fabric that's creasing, you know, that's becoming like this, that's going to be the hard areas. Also these areas that can be, you know, darker, and parts that are stretching. So there's a stretch there, but it's, oh, where am I going? It's going to be darker in here. So a darker, harder line can give you that, you know, that really nice tension, and a softer, lighter line around something that's stretching is lighter. Okay, and it's the same thing with here, how we can see the sun.
Rose,
so it's another way of rendering things. Yeah.
What about, like, and this is in regards to fabric, what about like you know, heavier fabric, even though in light, like how would you represent that even though they're heavier? So like, for example, denim, like you'd always want to perceive it as something thick. So would it still be thick, but as it gets darker, it'll get really, really thick? Like, is that what you mean?
Yeah, it can be the same, for instance, if you're doing chiffon. So
Yeah.
for instance, like fabric, I'll just show you. Okay, so for instance, denim, we all know what denim is. Denim is a stiffer fabric. So that stiffer fabric isn't going to be as soft and flowy. So first of all, you'd use more kind of, let's just say I was doing a denim skirt. I'd have like a waistband. And if it was gathered, like just say the denim skirt was gathered, actually wouldn't go flowy like that. You'd probably feel, okay, denim is stiff. It's not going to be something like that. Denim is going to be heavier. So you got to think, what fabric am I using? Yeah. What weight is it? It's heavy. So it's impossible that it would go like that. You'd have probably something like that, and then maybe one side to show the light or to show some kind of lightness to it. So that could be the light, or that could be just the area of light where you want it to not be. We'll have a change between the dark and the light. So you've always got to show some light, unless it, you know, for instance, chiffon. Okay, you'd have the chiffon here. Look how light and flowy my touch is. You just know for sure. Okay, that's chiffon. That's denim. And then you go into the second dimension and go, how else can I describe this? Okay, well, possibly there's light there, and I'm going to darken that bit. And you know how you usually have frills and all that down there from something that's gathered. You probably would do, say, one, and then change. See how my frills are kind of changing? Yeah. Whereas denim, maybe they'd have, you know, like a seam there and a seam there, and actually a seam there. We'll make this seam a little bit darker just to give it some more dimension. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's like as you're drawing, you're feeling what you're drawing. So if you're drawing the outline of that man, you're feeling where his tension is, or you're feeling where the light is. But those are the two.
Basically, the thinness and the thickness is just to outline, but when we're actually like trying to give like what that fabric is, it's on the inside. So if I want to make that appear denim on the inside, would my lines be thicker?
It just depends where, because you can see they're both using the same thickness of lines.
Yeah.
Is that what you wanted to ask me?
It's just more so like with texture, like how you can really represent, because like obviously when you're doing it in real life, it's much easier. Like you can use so much different mediums. Sorry, not mediums. So much different like pens. You can use crayon and, you know, just to get that texture. But with Procreate, it's just something that I have to play with brushes, right?
Yeah. Get it, like feel like it sounds wishy-washy. But you gotta feel it. You gotta feel the fabric.
Okay.
And feel the tension, where the tension is. So see how, like, if you have frills here.
Yeah.
Okay. So you got frills going. There's going to be tension in there. Where would the tension be? It wouldn't be down here, because the tension would be up here, because this is where it's like squashing together. So you'd make this like, you know, every second one tension. And then if you wanted to draw some, you know, the frills going back up, I'd probably start them thick and then see that?
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. It takes a minute to kind of get it, but once you start drawing and once you start imagining what that is, it just helps. Yeah. But that's one thing I always see with people drawing. They feel that they've got to have that one line. But think of putting that tension in. So it's either tension you're making dark or darkness that you're making dark. So you got two choices.
Okay, no, I get it now. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's all right. And I just want to make sure everybody gets that. It's just adding personality to your drawing.
Rose, with your previous figure, where on the left arm of the man, it has got both it looks like it's got muscle tension on the right side as well. So how do you deal with that?
Depends on where it is. Well, that's a good question. So let's look him up. Where did he go? Here we go. So I did that with light. I just followed where the light is. But if you want to do that, for instance, so you want to start and do muscle tension.
Oh no, what I mean is when you look at the whole picture, when you look at the photo in front of you, and you notice the right arm, sorry, not the left, the right arm, we're holding the spear. On the near the shoulder where it's the bulk of the muscle.
Here?
Further down, and the bulk of the muscle, the bicep. The bicep.
This here?
Yeah, it's a lot of tension, but it's on the light side.
Oh, that's okay. You can darken it, but say I wouldn't put two types of tension together. So,
okay, you separate them. Okay.
Well, just to give them some rhythm. So, you know, it's like you can press hard, light, press hard, light, press hard, light. So here, it's like, where's the most tension? Where can I find it? Before I was looking at the light, whereas now I'm going to be like, oh, where's the tension? Where is this body stretching and not stretching, pushing? I'd say, okay, there's maybe tension in here. I'd contrast it with something light and then make it, oops. Maybe here and then going light here. So let's have a look. You see, that's giving some tension. There are some of these really thick lines here, but they kind of dance around with each other. So if I made them all dark like this, it's not going to do anything. But making them stand out by choosing, choosing some thick and thin lines, but there are definitely really thick lines there will help.
Right. I just wanted to double check that you don't combine the tension and the light at the same time in the drawing.
You can. This one was, because if we look at it, this one was easy because you can see the light is kind of coming. The light is coming in this area. So that's why I kept all of this light. So as for the light, that's good. And then as for the tension all happened to be in this kind of area. So it worked out that the tension and the lighting worked out well.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But there may be one where, imagine if he was turning this way and the light was coming a different way, you'd have to kind of think, now, should I follow the tension or should I follow the light? Yeah. Usually I would follow the light because, obviously you want the darker lines to be here. And I guess that goes into maybe composition. So when speaking of composition, if I was going to make a painting, I'd probably line up the tension and the light together. So they're both coming from one area, because to me, that would work as a composition rather than the opposite. Do you know what I mean?
Thank you.
Yeah, it's just, but things to think about while you're drawing. You're not just, tracing something of Procreate, you're thinking of how you could do it. So is there any other questions? No, we're all good. I hope that helped. But yeah, as I said, all these things you can practice on Procreate and you'll definitely get better. So yeah, that was all I wanted to teach you with drawing, just those tips. The next thing I want to do is I want to go into drawing and painting today. We're going to do a portrait, but just before I finish drawing, everything natural in this world, you go and draw and you learn about it the same way. So for instance, let me pull up an image. What could I pull up? There we go, look for an elephant. Elephant. Just something generic, but it's part of this natural world. Let's look up an elephant. Let's get a picture, probably something straight ahead. Okay, this one will do. I'll just take a picture of that. And it's exactly the same principles when you draw. So let's bring that elephant in. Okay, here's the elephant. it's just like the human body. You go and you find the sections like a doll. You pull it apart and imagine what it's going to be like as a toy. You've got your, well, first of all, just lighten that a bit. Okay, the humans have their head. Here's the head. Okay, we've got the outline of the head. It's kind of like, I'll keep it more basic. So just keep it as basic as you can. Big circle is the head. You've got the side of the head. And you've got the other side on the front, but you can't see it because, you know, it's something of volume. It's not see-through. And then you've got the head. And then here, you've got another circle. You've got this big circle for the body. Again, I'll just try and make it a generic shape. And it's going that way. Okay. And over there. And, you know, you can see them as coils. We go with the coils again. The coils will be going around. Actually, I'll do that on another section. The coils will be going around, and around, and around, and around. They join up. Take this one off, take this one off. And there's, you know, your elephant. And it's going this way, this way. Then it joins up to this body. Goes this way, this way. And which way did I see it? It was following this one. It's going this way. And if it was see-through, we could see underneath. And then we've got the legs attached. So let's see this leg. Here we go. It attaches there. There's the hole. And then it's now going this way. And this one's going this way. And then you've got your, oh look, see, this already has coils on it. You can just follow that. And see how you start to feel the volume of the body rather than an outline and muscle shapes. So let's undo that. And do you see how you start to get a shape, and then you can, you know, fill in the rest, and then you have your drawing. So that's how you use it for flowers, anything from the natural world. But you'll know that, you know, it's all based on those coin shapes, and coil it out in the direction that it's supposed to go, and find which way you see those coils. Do you see the front? Do you see the front of them? Or do you see the back of them? So for instance, that one. Oh, I'm seeing the front. Or I'm seeing the top of it and the bottom. Does that make sense? Do you feel a bit more confident to go and start drawing things? Yeah, I hope so. Yeah. Neater than mine. Yeah, so mine's really messy, but you know, go carefully, do those coils, and as you get faster, you'll just end up doing a squiggle like that because you'll probably know how it's done. But yeah, nice big coils, and go through each body part like that, and that'll give you a basis of what you're drawing and make it a lot more easier. All right, so I'll move on. And this morning I sent you an email. So if you wouldn't mind checking your email, it's this image here. It's of an image of a woman, and I've sent you through the a piece of canvas paper with it as well. So if you could all download that into your iPhoto. And while you're doing that, I'm just going to download, if I've got any image, I've got one from Oliver. Just make sure that's sent. Yeah, it should say lesson 7 images. Is there anyone that doesn't have that? Okay, got one from Josephine. Oh, yeah. So I'll just bring up Oliver and Josephine's work that they just sent me. And I'll go through that. Okay, Oliver, excellent. Excellent. So I can see you working on the faces.
Yeah.
One thing that you could do is just try and keep the lines a little bit more straight or angled. So see, I can see you've done, you know, your lines. You've got nice straight lines, but to get them even more straight, if you kind of cut your lines when they start to curve. So for instance, rather than do one line, you know, around here, cut them off so they're a bit more angled. So, you know, rather than do something like that, try and make them a lot more angled like that. And I know it seems messy, but keeping them in angles makes them it trains it to be a lot more straighter. And when I find when people draw, they don't, you know, their first marks aren't, you know, nice, long, straight ones like that. They're, you know, short, angled. And then from there, that's when they get, you know, the straighter lines to then draw on top of them. That's all I can suggest. It's just something technical like that. So, you know, it'd be more accurate rather than one long line that you're trying to get. So these ones, so there's a little bit of discrepancy. So this one here, I, you know, maybe put a bit wider, but I'll actually send you a sheet. Actually, that's what I forgot to add in this week's is the original sheet. I'll do some original tracings on the face so that you can have a record of them flat. Tracings on a flat face. Okay, I will send that through when I send the video. But that's about it. Just keep practicing. So this one, okay, this one, I'll need to see the original face, but there's a lot more here. I think this one would be something like that. But yeah, just a little bit more accuracy. Try and get that accuracy for the first one and then just follow it through, because the more accurate, the more of these lines in the correct place you'll get, the better the accuracy will be. Okay?
Yep.
Beautiful. And your body. Yeah, excellent. Just keep practicing, but keep practicing them the going around. So around and around. Keep them close together or as tight as you can. So like that. And there you go. Find that shape. And it just becomes more. So for instance, find that shape, and then maybe with another pen if you want, go and find how they all connect up. So you've got the coil and you've got the box, just so you can understand each piece of volume on your body, all the connections where they go, you know, where they join up together. Like that. So does that make sense, Oliver?
Yes, yes, thank you.
Oh, that's okay. And we've got this. It's what's that? I can't remember his name. Dustin from Stranger Days. Is that Dustin? Josephine?
Oh my God, that's so funny. No, that's my 16-year-old.
Oh, I thought it was just Dustin from Stranger Things.
That's going to make
the hair.
My children laugh a lot when I say that. But
well, I said that because he's got the, you know, the hair.
Oh yeah, no, we're calling that the frolet. So it's a combination of an afro and a mullet that he's got at the moment. So
beautiful.
That's the frolet. But I think and now listening to you talk about the tension and where to create the tension in the lines, which is what I was trying to do in practicing my drawing, I can see that I actually have made some mistakes and I should have thought that through. So I was trying to create thicker and thinner lines and do all of that, but I think I've actually got them in the wrong spots.
Well, I'm looking at them now. The only thing I like, it's really nice how like the lines dance around and hold the drawing together, because you've got that here. I would, you could put the tension in here. So see this area?
Yeah.
So something, you know, like that. Yeah. And there's not much coming from here. So I guess there could be your light. But then if that's your light.
I know it's a bit confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not right. And then I was trying to make the hand come forward to make it look. The hand actually in the photograph comes forward, but I couldn't quite get the hand. So maybe I should have made the bend of the elbow darker.
Yeah.
I don't know. And think about the light was kind of, I couldn't quite work that out either. Anyway, because there was a lot of light in the
well, the light, like if that's the lighting that was on the photo, then the light is definitely coming from there, because that's give me shade. Okay. So that will let you kick off everything else. So that's right in it being light. Yeah. And definitely tension here. Definitely, you know, tension on the back. Yeah. You know, there. But look, this is great. You got nice shading. It's on the paper. To me, this looks like a real drawing. And for the things that you want to push forward, so even though it may not be in light, or it may be in the wrong light, but you want to really emphasize the hand, maybe not all of it. So if you want to emphasize this hand because it's coming out, first thing, okay, the light's going this way. So obviously I can go to town and darken this area. But then as I get here, I just get a bit lighter, but not as light as what's behind it. Yeah. So, you know, you could go to town and, you know, shade there and darken this. Yeah. So this hand is definitely standing away from this area here. Okay. Yeah. It's just pushing and pulling, again, using tension, using light, or using what's important. So that hand is important. So definitely give it some definition. What else could the hair's done really well? And again, you could even, make, the edge over here a little bit darker, the same kind of, rendering there. That's fine. It's nice and subtle, and you don't want it to look super real or super crazy with these lines, but little bits help.
Okay, that's already better. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's really good. I really like that. That's a cool pose, and it's a pose that Dustin would do as well in Stranger Things.
I'm going to tell that will make them laugh a lot, Rose.
Oh no. Well, it's a compliment. He's my favorite character.
He's our favorite as well. We like it.
Yeah, but yeah, beautiful, excellent, Oliver and Josephine, well done. All right.
Rose, I'm gonna send you something I did like ages ago.
Yeah.
I'm sending it to you now.
All right, let's see if I get it.
I sent it as the JPEG file, so I'm hoping it will come, because I know that we're having struggle downloading.
Yeah.
Is it the Rose art?
Yeah, Rose.
To the right one.
I haven't got anything yet, but that's okay. When it comes through, we'll get started with the one. When it comes through, what's the time?
I'll just screenshot it because it's not going through for some reason. But
all right. Well, in the break, I'll help you send it through. But yeah, I'll get that done after the break. But just before I start the break, I just wanted to check. So, who had trouble downloading the papers that I had sent 1 week? I think it was Oliver. Did anybody else have trouble sending the downloading?
I couldn't. It's Brian.
Yeah. Okay. So Brian, Oliver, was there anyone that was unable to download those papers? It's a link I sent a few weeks ago. I've got it here, but I don't have it on the email. So the rest of you got it okay? Okay, so I'll just walk you through it because downloading, everybody's computers are the same, but I'll just click on the link. This is the link I sent you. And it should have come up like this. So all it is just a page, and they're giving away free papers. It's okay. I've checked it. It's not a what do you call those ones that give you nasty viruses. And it shows all of the papers in there. So they give you 20 papers, which are fantastic and free. So these just tell you what each paper is. It describes them and show you what it is. And then if you come down, here's another link. So you click on that link. So that apparently is the download link. So you click on that. And it comes up with a Google Drive page. And here are all the papers that we saw, but you've got to download them each. So for instance, I'm going to click on one. Okay. And it depends what it says, but viewers, so we're allowed to download it. And it should just be one button. Andrew, can you come and help us for a sec? I'll get my technical man in. But you're getting to this page, Brian and Oliver, are you getting to this page?
Yeah.
Can you click? Yeah, okay. So what they get into this page, and how do they download it, or how do they download all of it?
I don't know.
They want to download these papers, and last time I did it, I just pressed the button. Here. So it's gone from that, press that, and that's taken them to Yeah, I just don't know where I tapped. Oh, here we go. So there's somewhere on your screen. It's something you tap. I don't know if it's the same as mine, but it enables you to download. Is there anything on your screen?
Yeah, I've got that.
Yeah, and you press download.
Mm-hmm.
And that should download to your computer, or it should download somewhere where you put all of your downloads. And then you might want to, sorry, it either downloads to your files or it downloads as a picture. But mine automatically downloads to my picture. Yours may be saved like in your download folder. So you've got to go there and then you've got to download into your file, photos. Do you know that? Does that make sense, Oliver and Brian?
Yeah, that's fine. Thanks, Rose.
Yeah. Okay. How about you, Oliver?
Yeah, I have downloaded before, so I can't remember. But that's fine. Yeah, I'm
fine?
okay. I'm okay. Yeah.
Okay, because it's just a very useful asset to have all of those papers and being free. And just to show you, if you want to use those papers and it's not big enough, so for instance, I'll just show you all. Let's Procreate. Here it is. So let's just say I've downloaded, well, I want to make a paper that's A3 size. So let's just go A3. Okay, this is A3. I'm going to import one of those papers. So let's just say here we go. I've imported the canvas paper into my A3 page. Now remember, A3 is the size I want printed. I can do two things. I can fit to canvas and kind of stretch it into shape. That's okay, but that's going to distort the paper and it's not going to be as well printed as it would as if I downloaded it, if I imported it at the same size. Here we go. So see how I imported it. Imagine if it only came to this size.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And if I stretch it, it's not going to be a very clear picture. So what I can do is import it to the size that it is. And this can be tricky. It's not a foolproof thing. You might have to buy a bigger paper. But if you don't want to do that, you just kind of go and put it together. So see how I keep duplicating it and then moving it around. And then I'll just duplicate again. But you know, it's better and cheaper than buying another piece of this paper. But I'll show you the only problem. Yeah, all these little tricks. The only thing is, you know, when we look up there, oh, there should be a join here. You can't really see it, so that one's okay. But remember, we're going to be covering this with paint. So that one's okay. This one, just imagine you had something like that. It's not that good. The trick you can do, and this is also another tool I want to show you, is we haven't ventured into this magic tool yet. So we've done the the arrow tool, the S tool. Remember, the S tool is the one that, you know, we can draw something and we can move it around. Actually, I'll go through that one again. Hang on a sec. I'll just show you this one. So this magic tool here, this shows us hue, saturation, brightness. So all these things here. Oh, they're changing. Oh, because they're not flat. Well, I'm just going to flatten all of these. So merge, merge down, merge down, merge down, merge down. Okay, so that's now one huge big piece of canvas paper, but I just want to neaten the edges up. So I'm going to go to that magic tool Okay, there's all these things, but I'll go through the magic tool first. Sorry, the clone tool. So we go to clone. And once I've clicked on clone, see this little circle here? It's going to clone anything I lay it on. So let's just say, let's bring this up. Here is the clone tool. I want it to clone what is in here onto this line. But I'm going to check what brush I'm on first. So I just want, let's just say an airbrush, something soft. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to click it all up. So 100%, probably about that size. Now, wherever I put my pen is going to copy exactly what's in here. So I'm going to put my pen over here. Do you see that? So it's copying what's in here with the type of brush and the type of brush that I choose. It can be any, but I've chosen a soft brush, so we've got no hard edges. And I'm checking the opacity. Well, I want it to be at 100%. And I don't want a huge brush. I want a smaller brush. I've got that size. And I'm covering it up. So as I go, it's kind of stitching it up. So I want you to have a go with that. And see if what that works for you. So is anyone having problems with that? Another thing you can do, which is I do sometimes, it can look a bit, it can stand out. It can look too perfect. So sometimes once I stitch it up like I have, where you can see, I don't want people's eyes to go there and focus on something that looks weird, looks too neat or something like that. I'll just go and I'll change the size and I'll just randomly mix it up. Just so that there's no continuous line or anything obvious if it stands out. It doesn't really stand out here, but just to break it up and make it look random, I change the size a bit as I go. So actually I should have, yeah. Have you all done that on an A3 piece of paper? Has everybody done that on an A3 piece of paper? Yeah, if we all have, let's just keep it anyway if we've gone and made it bigger, because I guess this is what we'll do our painting on.
Sorry, Rose, which one did you use? Which paper?
The canvas.
So is it just the one that we downloaded?
Yeah, on
Canvas,
an A3
canvas
paper.
texture?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I tried to download it, but I'm just saving them individually to my iPhotos because it's not downloading. So I'm just going to catch up now.
No worries. Yeah, because when you import it into an A3 page, it's too small. So this is what we're doing to patch it up, I guess. So I'll give you a break after this, but I'll get these on video. And if you finished and want to watch, I'll just take you through this magic tool. So you've got your brightness and contrast. What I might do is I might just bring in just another photo to show you. No, actually, sorry, I might leave that. I don't want to confuse you on that. I'll do that next. So if you're waiting, you can follow along. If not, you can finish this in the break. So once we have our canvas texture, we'll just make sure it's on one layer. So after you've cloned it, it's all on the one neat layer. And you could actually save that piece of paper if you want as the A3 sized canvas paper. But before we go to break, we'll just bring in the woman that I sent you. And we'll just leave it there. All right, so we might just have an earlier break and we'll come back 5 past? No, I can't add. We'll come back at about 10 past. So I'll be here earlier if you need to ask me. But if we're back and have your canvas ready with the image of the woman that I had sent you, that would be great. Just at about 10 past. So go have a cup of tea, come back, and I'll just be here earlier if you have questions. I'll just leave it there.
Rose, how did you merge down? How did you merge down you duplicated, and how did you merge down the paper again?
Okay, so you will have all different ones here that are all duplicated. So you just press the very top one, and it won't say it here because I've got nothing to merge, but it would say merge down.
Oh, you got to be the top one. Okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
Yeah,
got to be the top one. Okay, thank you.
And yeah, as I said, save it so you've already got it as a bigger piece.
Rose, sorry, Rose.
Yes.
That's all. Sorry, I merged. Right? I've got a first layer, and then I merged down. It's still I duplicated, and it's still and I don't get a separate piece of paper that I can match.
Okay, let me have a look. All right, so you are on, so let's just take this out.
Maybe I start again. Maybe I start.
Yeah. So you should start it with, actually, I'll start from the beginning. Hang on a sec. I'll just delete all these.
I have to set up the A3 paper first. I've created it as a size.
Yeah.
Screen size.
So start with an A3 page.
Yeah, just a sec. Let me just new canvas, and the A3 is 20. It got centimeters. Is 20.
Oh, A3 is
29.7. I got it.
29. Yeah.
42. Create. Yeah, I got the I got the A3.
So you got an A3, and then you go and insert.
Insert,
yeah. So you go to spanner.
Yeah.
Add.
Yeah.
Insert photo.
Yeah.
So you go and get the paper.
Yeah.
And see how it's a bit smaller?
Yeah.
Yeah. You could just push it up into one corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then, then swipe right to left, and then you get the duplicate sign.
Yeah.
Duplicate. So there's now, you see two
layers. Yeah.
2 layers. You get the top one. So you click, and you see it's now 2 layers. So you can pull the 2 layers around.
So now this is where I click on that arrow.
Yeah.
And okay.
Ah,
I got you now.
yeah.
Oh,
It's always hiding.
Yes. Okay. Got you.
Yeah.
Now I create another layer.
Yeah. And then you click another duplicate
layer, and then merge down. Merge down.
Merge down.
Go to the arrow again.
Yeah.
And move that. Oh, no, it didn't.
No. You have to duplicate it. So see here, if you can see my layers, I duplicated it. So I've got, that's all one layer. It's not one layer, it's still 2 layers, because see, it's cut it.
I got 3 layers now.
Yeah. So you can duplicate it. So not duplicate it, merge down. Merge.
Down.
Yeah.
Oh, you have to merge down again.
Yeah.
So only 1 layer, become 1 layer.
Become 1 layer. And then you can duplicate that one. So you can go duplicate. Now you got 2 exactly the same. Then go to your arrow and bring that one down.
Arrow. I still got 1. I still have the same one.
No, we'll start again. Okay. So delete them all. So just bring in the 1 layer.
I got 2. Okay. I have 1 layer with 2 canvas, 2 pieces of paper.
Okay, you just move to the top one.
Yes. Okay. Now, now I have to. I got okay. So I got 1 layer with 2
1 layer,
paper, and I duplicated, and I now have 2 layers.
Yeah.
Now I click merge down on the top layer. Oh no, merge down on the top layer. Now I become 1 layer.
Yeah.
And I go to the arrow.
Yeah.
And I still only 1 piece of paper. Only.
Just watch on the video. Yeah. So I'll do it right from the start. Okay. So you're clear. You got no layers. There's nothing there. And then you go, bring it in, insert photo. There it is. But that's too small. So what you can do is now move it right to the corner. Okay, so it's 1 layer. And then turn it off. So it's here, layer 3 or layer, and it's this one here. And now what I can do is I can duplicate it. So I now have two. So two pieces of paper on top of each other.
Yeah.
And then I can go to any of them. This one. Okay, that is the blue one. So blue one is this one. And because it's blue, it's on. I can move it anywhere.
So you didn't merge down?
Not yet, not yet. So I can move this one over here. And yep, I like it. Now you can see I have the original layer here, remember?
Yeah.
And then I have this one on top.
Yeah.
See? This one is being cut because I've put it here and all this is cut. It's gone. So now I can say, well, it's good, but not good enough. I've made this much more, so I can just go merge layers, merge down. So all of this is one. And then I say, okay, I need it bigger. I'm going to duplicate. There's two now, two of the same. I'm going to get my arrow and move that one down. You see? It was here, there. And I still have those two papers, but they moved to cover the whole area. And then I just merge down.
Okay.
It's different to how I described it first because there's all different ways you could do it, but I think that's the easiest way.
Right.
Rose,
Okay.
how do you now put a photograph on top of that without just obliterating the paper?
So the photos come in naturally as another layer. So I'm just going to insert a photo. And I want this photo here. And that just comes in. And it's automatically, it's weird how it does this. It puts it either on top or on the last layer you were using. So for instance, just so I had, I don't know, 3 layers here, it's always going to put it on the last layer that you've used. But if there's, it'll either do that. So watch your layers. Your layers don't automatically come in and sit at the top. It could come in and you could say, oh, it's not there. But it is actually there. It's just sitting behind because you may have used.
Oh, all right. And it's, I just thought that once you're drawing on top of your photo, once you remove the photo, the drawing is going to be on top of the paper and the photo's gone.
Yeah, it depends. So you will need to have another layer for your photos.
Yeah,
so,
sure.
Yeah. So I'll move this one up and now we can see her. And just say we wanted to paint on top of her, but not touch her or anything else, you'd need an entirely new layer, which if I press here, look where it's gone. It's gone all the way down the bottom here, but I don't want it there. I want it on top. Yeah. Layers are very confusing. Even you see me when I teach, I get stuck and I mess up. So is that all clear for you guys?
Yeah,
that's great. Thanks, Rose.
Rose.
Yeah.
What did you do with the magic wand? Sorry, I wasn't watching.
No. I was going to show you something, but I just left it.
Oh, you left it. Okay, so I didn't miss it. Okay,
we're getting to it, but yeah. All good.
I thought I downloaded them and then I just went back to that Google Drive and then I was watching, but I wasn't concentrating. But yeah, I've done it. The clone tool is so easy to use, but what I've noticed is that why does the clone tool move as you're cloning? Is that just something that? So why does the circle? So the clone, why does it move as you're moving?
Because you were cloning, so I'll show you here.
Like, am I doing it wrong?
No, you're doing it right. So you know how the paper had some
The
you
line.
have to stitch it. Yeah. To get, like, you could have done it the way I showed you, or the way I showed Oliver. Like, sometimes, like, we didn't even need to clone this paper because we doubled it, like we duplicated in a way where it was just getting bigger. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's how I showed you. So we can do it here. So we're on her layer. So you're going to make sure you're on the right layer, and we'll go to clone. Go to that one. Okay. This circle will always stay this big, and no matter what tool. So just say the hard brush tool. Here we go. I'm using the hard brush tool. It's going to be about, say, that big.
Yeah.
And wherever I put this, so let's just say I'm putting it on her ear here.
Yeah.
Okay. And when why did that move?
That's what was happening to me.
Oh.
So
it looked like it just moved. So I'm going to now try on the ear. So I've got that on the ear, and that should paint in your ear. You see what I mean?
Oh no, yeah, that's what I wanted to know. Like, is that, you know how the clone circle's moving as you're moving? So that's normal, right? Because that's what's happening to me. Yeah, okay. Yeah. That's so interesting. I mean, you can, like, that's amazing. Like, if you do like a painting. Hi, Mom.
I'm tired.
I know.
Yeah, so the clone tool's pretty handy, especially if you're doing hair, grass, or
it's interesting. Yeah. Did you also show us how to do like, you know, if you want to draw one side, but like, you know how if you want to draw a face but you don't want to draw both sides, you just want it to be even. Did you show us that?
No, but that's often shown. I was wondering whether I should show you that. I can show you that, or maybe I'll just do it. I'll do it next lesson.
All right, cool. I'll remind you. Thank you.
Yeah, all right. Just put that on my note. So I'm back, everybody. I know I'm a bit earlier. Fatima, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
I'll go through yours now, if you'd like. Yeah? Okay. So this one, beautiful lines. Did you do this before the lesson?
No, I did this ages ago when, I don't know what homework or lesson we had, and I can't remember, but do you want me to send you the original picture so you can, because I would like your feedback here. I'll send it to you. Because she's wearing denim. So that's, is it
a denim jacket?
Yeah, denim jacket and skirt. Yeah, I'll send you the picture so you can get the idea of
Mama.
Yeah, Mum, just give me 1 second. Yeah, but you don't use the internet, okay, Mama?
I need something in my bed while you do the work. What's my video? I need something in my bed first.
Yeah.
Why are you doing the work on?
No.
In my bed first.
At 12:30.
No. Oh, what's you guys in my breakfast? Why don't you work? There's 3 things for that.
Okay, play your card game, Mama.
Now?
Yeah, so that doesn't use the internet.
No, it always comes a different one. It's always different, Mama. It doesn't look over for me. It always looks different, Mama.
Okay, Mom. All right, I'm on my class now. The teacher's talking to me.
All right, so I've got your original.
Can you do it?
Yeah, sorry, Rose.
All right, so I've got your original.
Yeah.
Okay. So that jacket. Yeah, that jacket looks like a soft denim, and the skirt.
Yeah, it's a
like
softer denim. Yeah.
Normal size.
And then the skirt was obviously a bit more stiffer and fitted. Oh, it's actually a dress, not a skirt.
Okay. Well, for the jacket, jacket looks good. So what I could suggest is just using flowy and straight lines. You know what I mean? You know, I like, for instance, say, I'll just erase here a little bit. So just keep the original. Duplicate. So if you wanted to, say, push it further and, you know, give more of a stronger impression of the denim, you could just say, add some, sorry, I can't think and do it at the same time. Okay, let's get a similar pen. So it's a hard kind of blend. So hard, straight, you know, like, because you had, see how it's all like nice, slightly curved? You got thick and thin lines, which is great, but just go and make some a little bit harder. So
yeah, I realized I was kind of following more into the details. So
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
But to you know, emphasize it, push it even further.
Yeah.
So,
Look, definitely looks better when you do that. Yeah.
Yeah, but all of your lines are beautiful. Look, you got that's, you know, thin line there.
Yeah.
You got your thin line there. Just mix them up a little bit more according to those, you know, those things, either the light or the tension and stuff like that. See, because like all this here, you've got it right, because look at that. That's all tension.
Yeah.
All this scrunched up stuff, you know, like that. So you've done that. You instinctively did it in the right place. And things like
her scarf's like a softer fabric. It's not chiffon. It's like a soft cotton. So that's why.
And you've done that.
Like that. Yeah. Okay.
Beautiful. And these creases.
Sorry.
Oh no, you go. Sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to get back into drawing, and I do want to go down that path of you know, like Muslim fashion wear and all that stuff. So
yeah,
you know, who knows, I might open up my own label. We don't know what's going to happen, but
you can hire me as your fashion illustrator.
Oh, I don't mind offloading. But yeah, no, I find it really hard getting back into it, to be honest, because I know I've had so much skill. It's just getting to practice and get back into it. So I'm happy to know that I haven't lost it completely.
Yeah, no, you never get out of it. You just maybe forget a little. You just practice and practice. But you know, this is fun. This is beautiful for an illustration drawing. And as I said, if you want to make it a little bit stiffer looking, go and, you know, rather than curves, make them straight lines, thin or thick, depending. And even like areas that have a lot of tension, like, you know, the corner,
the scrunch
here, you can go and you know, now make this into 2 lines and see how that makes it a little bit
big difference.
Big difference.
So,
and because it's denim, it's not gonna, you know, softly scrunch like in a nice little curve. It's going to be a bit more hard, like, you know.
And rigid.
So that's where you leave stiff lines. But yeah, this is fun. This is great.
As you can see, I struggle with the hands, so I just covered them.
Cover them, because fashion illustration, no one's looking at the hands; they're looking at the clothes. So
that's what I mean. I'm like, I can't do this, you know, like, because she's a stylist. So I got her picture off Instagram. I love her work. And she's always putting her hand on her face. I think she doesn't want to like show her full face on Instagram. She's got a private account. And I'm like, I can't do this. I'm just going to put your hand behind the face.
Yeah, just put it there. Unless you're selling something via the hand, then you're more useful to put, you know, the hands. They're selling the gloves or whatever. But yeah, it's a perfect illustration. It highlights what you want, and then just kind of loses even the face. Like, you know, the face is nice and light. That's all you need. You're selling that, not anything else. So
that's true.
Keep going. Yeah, well done.
Thank you so much.
I hope you do well. I'm sure you will.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, so everyone's back. We'll get back to what we were doing. Okay, so for the rest of the day, we're going to be working on how to start painting. So the first thing that we did is that we learned how to put all of our scenes together with cloning. We didn't have to do that. We could have done even something more simple. So let's just say we had the small piece of canvas. I don't know if you saw me just do this with Oliver, but I'll just bring it in again. So if we, kind of put it all together and duplicated it, we could have built it up slowly this way, but again, we'd have those points and would need the cloning tool to do that. But an easier way that I did with Oliver, it was I just brought it in, duplicated it. So I have two, move them around. Made that as one layer and then duplicated again. And that, that was pretty easy. So, that was just to show you the cloning tool. But anyway, let's start. Oh, and I may even need the cloning tool, even though there was no gap. So just see parts like there. I'll just quickly get the cloning tool. Make sure it's on the right layer. I'll have to merge them down. They're all on one layer. Cloning tool. And I'll make this a nice big circle so it doesn't look too neat. There we go. It's a nice one, big sheet of paper. Okay, and then we brought this lady in. So this is the lady that I gave you. So how do we go and make a picture? Well, we can start a few ways. I'll show you a few options. Let's go and change this to portrait. And let's change this lady to come into the portrait. So we know about this button here. And let's make her a little bit bigger. So apart from painting, we'll learn a few editing tools here. So we've got the lady, she's sitting on top of the paper. We can't see the paper, the canvas because she's on top of it, but we want her head in it. How could we get rid of the rest of it? We could take the eraser button and we can go, the eraser brush, and we can go and erase her. That's one way of doing it. And when you get close up, if you don't want a big brush, you can go to a smaller brush, enlarge it, and erase it like this. Okay, that's going to give you more detail. If you want more detail than that, I would go to the airbrush. So go to airbrush or soft brush. It's in the airbrush file. Oops. There it is. It's the soft brush, so I use that quite a bit. So I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to get a small size. Erase. Just making sure, that didn't change to airbrush. I'm sorry. So go to erase, airbrush, soft brush, make it really small. And that's where you can get super detail to erase her out. You see how I'm erasing her out? And because that's a soft brush, I'm getting that nice kind of furry edge. So when I take off everything else, you can see I've got a lot of detail there. So have a go at erasing something. And once you've done that, the other easy way to erase, please just shout out shout out and stop me if I'm going too fast, is using the selection tool. So let's keep that canvas turned off. So all we've got on is that layer with the lady, and we're trying to get rid of the background. We just want her face. I'm going to go to my selection tool. And here I have automatic freehand rectangle and ellipse. We went through this really shortly a week or so ago. And what that is that's going to select something. So if I click on rectangle, just down here, and I just start pulling out that square, see how it gives me a rectangle? Just make sure that does it. And let go. And when you let go, it surrounds with this squiggly line, but inside there's nothing. It's just the normal picture. So whatever's on the squiggly line, we cannot touch. But if we were to go and get an eraser, I'll make that a bit thicker, it'll erase that patch that hasn't been touched. Okay. So let's go back. You can click out of it. And once you're back to the screen, let's do that again. Let's go to the S tool, rectangle. And sorry, I have to remember how to do this. Okay, I'm going to put the rectangle there again. And here we go. We've got all these lines that are blocked. You can't touch anything underneath except what is untouched. Now, if we go to invert, it changes it. So now you can see that area that we isolated is blocked. Oops. And we've got to go back to our eraser tool. And now when we erase, it's the opposite. I just want to make sure you all can do that. Yeah. Look, maybe if it gets too loud, we'll turn them back off. But if you want to put your speakers on so I can hear you, just in case anyone falls back.
So this is basically like a mask.
Yeah. This is, I don't teach the other mask because I can't use it that well. This makes more sense to me. This makes more sense and it's a lot more easier and practical. So that's how you do, and it's also called a mask. But as I say, I don't use, the only thing I'd use mask for is for something in real life, would be to do airbrushing. But not in painting. I never use this for painting. It's only for editing photos. So you can go back or you can click in the blue, but I just want to make sure that makes sense to you. And especially on erasing things. And we can do it again. So let's try this time. Let's try freehand. So rectangle, what we did is just like ellipse, but ellipse is a circle. Let's click on freehand. So freehand is blue. And now we're just going to start anywhere. And you see, I started in that there's a little grey dot. So I can just kind of roughly trace around all in one go, or I can tap and join them up. So try freehand and tapping. And once I tap back all the way to the grey dot at the very start, that closes it up. So was everyone able to close it up? Yep. And you can all see now, there she is. She's isolated, but it's showing, it's the opposite we want. We want to get rid of the background. So we can then just go to invert. And now you can see she's protected. And I can just go and get the eraser again and erase all around her. And that's when I go back, and because I want to do this, manually, I want it to be as neat as I can. Let's just get out of it, double click it, and there she is. It's been erased, and then I can use the eraser tool, the soft brush, and really go and get that, oops, a bit large, that detail in. Do you see what I mean? It's just a way to edit your pictures as finely as you can. And I found using those two tools the easiest way, because you can let the iPad, the Procreate, do it for you, but it's never going to be as precise as you want. So just double checking that you know how to use that S tool with the freehand to go in and do this. It's a mix of using this tool and the eraser tool together to get the bulk out, and then go find the erase your image. Does that make sense? Yep. Okay, I'll show you one more. So we can just take her away, delete her, and let's bring her in again, but how she was before. There she is, and remember the canvas at the back has been turned off. Make sure she's in the blue layer. Let's go and do that again. So we'll go to your S tool, freehand. This time, we're going to go and circle around her. Well, you want another quick way of isolating something. And when you click on that gray bit to say that's the area that I want. So you don't want to do that. You just want to, again, freehand. You just want to go around her. And we're not going to click into that gray part. We're just going to finish it off, hand draw it in. Okay, because clicking it in will give us that. We don't want that. I'll just do it again. Oops. So carefully just draw it back in. Okay, so we've all got it like this. Mm-hmm. Then we go copy and paste, which is just under freehand. So just copy and paste. And then those lines should just disappear. Okay, where's it gone? It's taken it. So if you go to your layers section, it's copied what you've isolated and pasted it on a separate layer. So if you take away the underneath, that's it again. So that's a third way of doing it, okay? But as you work on your own, you'll find you'll need it for this, for that. But there are all these ways to erase what's your background. So for instance, if I get to here and I decide, oh, she's looking a little bit stiff, I might just turn her head a little bit. I can again, remember I'm on this layer. I've taken that away because I don't need it, but I'm not ready to throw it away yet. I want to work on this isolated layer. And I'm going to say to myself, I want to move her head. So again, I'm going to isolate just where her head is, bring it back without clicking in, and then I'm going to move the head, or I could make another layer. So I will go again, copy, paste. And now I have, well, that original layer, the first copy and paste, and then I've copied and pasted just the head. So now if I wanted to, because that little head is isolated on a one layer, I can then go to my, so this is different. This is the arrow this time. This is moving it around. I can then say, I want it to be the neck a bit longer. And I can move that anywhere, but I want to move it, say, to about there. I'm changing the position. So see how I've taken one photo and I'm taking things and I'm moving, even the hair. So for instance, I'm on this same layer and I'm going to go and say, I want this hair to be a little bit longer. Just going to take the hair from there. And then I'm going to go to this shape changer. And remember, actually, this is a good example. If I wanted to go make this hair longer, I can only go all uniformly, freeform. Okay, it's only moving to that side. Don't really need that. Anything else, probably not going to be what I want. I want to move this specifically to one area. I'll just go back. I'm going to go and change. So this one up here, change the angle. Okay, I'll go back. I don't want that one. What I want to do is change this orange. So remember we used the green one, but we didn't really use the orange because we didn't really know how to use it. I'm now going to move that orange so that it's sitting in orientation with the direction of the hair I want. Okay, so I've moved that. Now moving it this way because I want the hair to come this way, down. So now because I've moved that orange one that has changed the orientation of the shape change, I can now move this to freeform and lengthen her hair. Okay, so that's what it was like before. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's a weird little thing, but you will need it. You will need it. So I've just lengthened her hair a little bit. And I've changed her head. So I've gone, I lift it off. So they're just a few of the editing things that I use all the time. And you can erase them as you go. You can be like, okay, I definitely want her to be like this. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to turn her off and erase this head. It's confusing me too much. And replace it with that head. So just making sure again, is that all clear? There's just a few little things, but they just help so much. And that's how I do. Remember, I showed you all of the work that I do, all my paintings that I just get random images and I put them together like this one. So those birds weren't there. I went and I changed them all. Oh, this is not the one that shows. Okay, so they're all birds. They all have different heads. So that one doesn't have the right head. I don't know whether I've got so much on my machine, but I go and I get a couple of birds in the same position or totally different position. Like I like their head, but I don't like their body. I go and I cut them up and I can make them bigger or smaller so they sit anatomically together the way I want. So I have total control. I could have another picture of this shoe here and I don't like it. And I'm like, I want a better one from another photo. So I will go and replace the photo and so on and so on. So there's sometimes about 100 layers in my paintings. Like maybe I don't like this wing, I'll get another wing for a bird and so on. So that's all about photo editing. And, you know, you can do it with anything. I do it with real objects. You can do it with paintings, your own paintings, brush, like you could be like, I don't like this section of the painting. What would it look like? What would it look like if this part of the painting was it? Okay, so any questions there?
Sorry, I must have missed something, Rose. When I try to pull the hair down, it's distorting it and leaving sort of white gaps behind it, white angles.
Yeah, so it does that, and I'll show you how to get away from it. So I'll bring her in again. I'll just turn all this off. I'll make her bigger. Okay, so what you can do is you can double the photo. So see, there's only one photo here. Let's put, actually no, I'll show you another way. It's probably easier. Okay, there's one photo here, and I want to make her hair longer. So let's move her up. Okay, let's go to the S, freehand. You could do rectangle, whatever you want, but you know, freehand's a bit easier. So just go to freehand. It's selected there. So before, so I can click copy and paste. So I'm going to copy that and paste it on top of itself. So here's a different way.
Oh,
okay.
Right.
Oh, still going. So I have the original photo and I have this little section here, which is what I copied and pasted.
Yeah.
Yep. And because that's sitting on top of another photo of it, when I go to distort it, so I go from the S to the arrow, and then I move this in the right orientation. When I go to freeform, so to stretch it, because there's a photo underneath, you don't see it pull.
Yeah.
So I'll just show you. There it is. So you can do things like that. Or when you pull, I'll go back. So here it is. If there was no photo underneath, it was just her head. So there's, I could do this. So just watch again. I'm just going to pull it. So I'll go around here, put it in the right orientation, and I'm going to pull it. So you notice I pulled it that way. If I pull it just a little bit over that way, it'll cover the white bit.
Right.
Yeah. So there's so many ways. Try not to confuse you, but does that make sense? Probably the easiest would be to do a double photo underneath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
So,
thank you.
Okay. Anyone else got any questions?
Rose, I found when, like, I had the same issue as Brian. I found when I did that editing, like lengthening the hair from selection layer, that it left a white, like a background mark on the original. Do you get it?
Oh, okay. That was probably
because there's other layers underneath. Is that what the issue was?
No, it depends on how you want it edited. You can edit it as is, but always remember what you're seeing behind, because I doubled the photo, as I stretched it, it's going to make a stretch mark in some areas. It's going to pull a little bit of the white or something. But because I had something underneath, you don't see that. No, that. It's probably better if I demonstrate. Okay,
Yeah.
so we've got, yeah. Okay, so we've got one. Oops. Let's just bring it up. Okay, this is all I've got here. I've got one image and I want to make her hair longer. So if I just select what I want, so here, okay, I'm pulling because there's nothing underneath it.
Yeah.
Okay, but what I can do is get that original photo. Well, I should have done that behind. So imagine if there was a, no, I'll do it one more time, sorry. Okay, so there's one photo. I'm going to keep a safekeeping one under here, but it's turned off. Okay, so one photo. Oh, where did it go? Oh, I'm on the wrong layer. See, I make those silly mistakes too. Okay, I've got two images. One's hiding, one I've just got for safekeeping, and this is the one I'm doing. The one layer, it's blue. I'm going to go, select it. Got it. I haven't done anything else. I've selected it, and I'm going to go to my arrow, change it around, and then pull it. And you can see because there's nothing behind it, it's just white. But if I come back and I've already got a safekeeping photo underneath, see how that disappears?
Yeah.
Or, I'll explain this something else, or I can, the other way is to, oh yeah, or I'll take it right back. There we go. So a different way. Here she is. One photo. I'm going to select the area. And instead of going straight up to move it, I'm going to copy and paste it. So I press copy and paste. And what that did was take a copy of this one photo and paste one photo area and paste it on top. So now all I'm moving is this piece here.
Yeah.
Okay. There it is. Do you see how it stays? Because it's that extra photo on top, it's changed, but not the photo underneath has stayed the same. Just want to make sure everyone's got that, because that's confusing. And I know that when you go to the tutorials online, it's really hard to explain. They do this thing called mask instead, which is very generic and really hard to kind of customize. So yeah, I just want to make sure. Is that cool with everyone?
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Okay, I'll get on. So I'll just delete all of those. Start fresh. Okay, so here she is. Let's cut her out. She doesn't have to be perfect, but let's just go through the whole thing. Let's cut her out. However you want to cut. I'm probably going to use copy and paste, so I'm just going to. Oh, actually, I want that background on her. So don't copy and paste that one yet. Let's say I don't want this square. So this piece of the paper where I copied it from. I'm going to go to S tool. I'm going to go to rectangle. And I'm going to cut out the rectangle. So she's in it with a background. Let go. That's been highlighted. And press copy and paste. And she should come up here twice. Yeah. I don't want this background, which you can see there. And I'm just going to delete it. And then once you've done that, let's make her nice and big. And then I'm going to duplicate her for safekeeping. And then I'm going to lock her up and turn her off. So to lock her up, I think it was, swipe right to left, press lock, and then turn her off. So she's always going to be there in case we need her again. Okay, so we all good?
Yeah. Okay.
First thing I'm going to do with painting is I'm going to take you through black and white because I want to show you tones and values. So what that is going from, grey in one color. It can be from grey to white, whatever color, but as long as there's different grades there. So we touched on it last week when we shaded the face. So I'm going to turn her into black and white. That's the first thing I want to do. So we're going to go up to your magic tool, just up here. And while we're here, we're just going to go quickly through the things that I use. One of the first things I use is hue, saturation, brightness. I kind of touched on it before. Oops. Make sure I'm on the right layer. That's why it didn't work. So I'm on the right layer. Hue, saturation, and brightness. It's all very generic. It's, you can make it darker, lighter. The saturation is going to bring it down to black and white. And you have a little color slider here that takes you through all the tones. Okay, we don't want that, so we're just going to click out of it. And I just click back just to make it easier till I get right to the start. Okay, but now for real, we're going to click into it again. And we're going to go to hue, saturation, brightness. And we're going to bring just the saturation all the way down so it's black and white. So just making sure you can hear me because my headphones just ran out of battery. Yeah. Okay. So we'll take it all down to black and white.
And then click out of it. So why we're going to do it in black and white is because you can see when there's color, so much for you to learn. So you're not only learning how to paint or draw a face, color just makes it one step, 10 million steps too much. So if we limit it to just black and white, first time we paint, it's going to be so much more easier because all the colors we need are just the colors from basically black to white and in between. So that's going to be our first painting. And again, this is the exercise that you got to do to repeat until you're ready for color. So what else do we need to do? So back again into the magic tool, we want to go to curves. So look at curves, click on it. And what we want to do is technically the right way to use this is like for graphic designers and some technical stuff like that. But I just do one thing with this, and all it is just going to this top kind of corner here just make sure it says gamma. So this kind of corner up here, and I kind of just take it up just a little bit. So see how it made her highlight stand out a little bit? It's exactly the same for everything I do. I bring that up. And the one down the bottom, I lower it a little bit. And then just click out of it. So you can see if you go back, forward, back, forward, back, forward. So that back forward was just like before we did it and after. And you can see how it just changed it. So here, you know, it was all one color. And then we changed the brightness contrast, which you can do that way. And it just makes it stand out. So see how it stands out more? We just want to work something in like that. And when you do paint from photos, or if you're looking at someone, you got to imagine them where you can clearly see the lights and clearly see the dark. So that's the first thing I did. And now I'm going to save that. Okay, so I'm going to press forward, share, JPEG. And I'm saving that just as a photo. The next thing I want to do, all in this order, is again, go back to the magic tool. And the next thing I use is Gaussian blur. So Gaussian blur, if you click on that, all that does is when I start going like that, see how this is sliding? I just want to slide so much so I can just see her blurry features. So probably something like that compared to the original. So that's the original. Let's blur it up. So not too much. No. Sometimes it messes up. Don't worry about it. Just click back and go all the way back. So Gaussian blur, just slowly. Stop it about there. So can you see how blurry mine is? I've stopped my blur. It's not too blurry, but it's just enough so you don't see all the fine details. Okay. So once that's done, we're going to click the arrow just to say, yep, that's good. Click it again. So it's there. And now we're going to save that one. So we're going to go to Spanner, Share, JPEG, Save Image. So now what we want to do, we've got a blurred image, which we've got here. We've got the colored image. And what would be next? Oh, yes. So we're going to go back and get that black and white image back in. So add, insert a photo. So there's the black and white one. So here it is. So it's the not blurred one. So we've got a top image, which is the black and white. And now we have a blurred image. So turning that one on and off. So we got the blurred image, and then we've got the colored image hidden underneath. Just to make sure everybody's got that. Yeah. Okay, so we want that image that's not blurred, but it's black and white right on top. Okay, now we've got another thing. So we want an empty layer on top because we want to draw the face on it. So let's go and add another layer in. And this can be a bright color, something that'll stand out. So maybe a blue again. And we want that to be a pencil or whatever we feel is probably the best. For me, it's probably pencil because I just want to feel like real sketching. So in sketching, 6B, check the size. So probably about 40% is the one that I'm using. Okay, we got 5 layers. So we've got the empty layer on top of the lady in black and white, and she's clear. That's the layer that we want to concentrate on. And now we go and draw our face shape. So we can't really see the edge of her little hair tuft here. So we'll just try and go and trace, get it larger and just kind of trace around it, just on the side so we can see where it ends and where it fades. So it goes to about there. All right, let's go and do the face trace for her. So I'd say, coming around here. It's going to be a bit hard because we can't see that side of the face. So let's try and go on top of her in this area here. Draw what we can. Okay, and I'm kind of stopping there. Now I think I'm ready to do that face trace. So the first one is when we isolated the temple area. And we can't really see the other side, so we'll just mark where her hair is just for now. So we've got the temple area, and then we've got her nose shape. You can go larger, small. Make sure you utilize your iPad. So we did that little shape, and now we'll go down the nose. It's a bit hard because the edge of the nose kind of blends into the other side. But just try and work it out. And then we come down the nose to that point. And then we do the kind of eyebrow around where that bone is. So keep feeling your bones around your eyes. And then we can come back to the nose, to the corner. So I say do the same shapes in order so you remember, but I think I've just done mine a little bit different to what I showed you. And then the eye, it comes from that notch on the nose just down towards under the teardrop area. And then connect the nose to that teardrop area. And with the eye, there's a corner around here. So we come around the corner, maybe a little bit higher. And we just kind of angle where that bone changes. So that angle there. And then we just connect the dots. And this side's a little bit harder to see, but we kind of estimate it. And then we've got the chin. You can see the highlight of her chin. So that's giving us direction of where it is. And then we can just connect the dots from the eye to the chin. And then do the other side. And you see just a little bit of the line. And then from her ears, the rest of the area around the face. And that ear, just a few little angles is all we need. Nothing too rounded. And then we can try and fill in the rest of her head. I wouldn't be too worried about getting it too perfect, but just something to show where her actual head is. And let's have a look, see how we're going. Turn her off and all the others underneath so we can see. Yeah, that's kind of giving us some 3D shape. So I'll turn it back on and just lightly put in the rest of the boundaries of her head, or her hair. Very basic shapes. And just a little bit of neck. And try and get that neck into like a cylinder shape. And I'm just going to cut it around here so you can see. I'm not doing the whole lot, I'm just making it simple. So you can see we've kind of got the face frame of her. So if she was sitting in front of you, you'd probably say, oh, can you move your hair a little bit so I can see the underneath, especially on this side? But, you know, it doesn't matter. This area here is the most important. Okay, if you feel comfortable, get them to put their hair back so you can get the whole head shape. Or if there's no way you can't, just try and estimate in the outline of the hair in its most simple shapes. So there we go. We've got the face frame, and I'm teaching you this in we're just going to trace for today until you're better, and you can do this on your own. You can do the face shape, the face trace accurately. I just keep tracing for now, and then let go of other things like the face, like tracing directly on top of the face till you get better at it and more confident. Because that's great about Procreate. It lets you do this so you will remember. You remember by tracing and going over things. So let's see. Here we go. We've got her. So that's how we start. And then let's have a look at what other things we have here. We have the blurry version of her. And we're not even worried about the color version yet. So how we're going to color this, what we're going to do is we're going to look at just the painting, but we're going to look at the blurry painting because it condenses more. So there's like, rather than 1 billion colors, there's only 1 million now. So we want to get the most basic colors from black to white. So let's try that. Let's get a new palette. So we got a new palette. And remember, we clicked on add one, create new palette. So let's create a new palette. It's probably right at the top. So if you can't see it, just pull down. It's right at the top. And let's call that painting. Okay, so we've got our painting palette. And I say, let's make this easy. Let's only use 5 colors. So again, if this was color, we'd use 10 million colors. And they're going all from here. So let's just say here, they're all going all from light to black. So let's try that. Let's go from light to black. So let's get the blackest color in here. And where's that? I think that's her eyes. So let's go up and get that. It's not even black. It's kind of a charcoal black. There we go. There's the black. And let's put that into our palette. That's the first color. And then what we can do is then go and get the lightest color. So let's look at this painting. So the lightest color would be this color here, this kind of gray. And let's put that right at the end. So how many? They're going to be 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So put it in the 5th box along there. So now all we have to do is find 3 colors in between. So let's find 3. Let's say, okay, so I'm going to need one that's less gray and less white, and then one in between. So let's try and get the in-between color. Where would that be? If we were looking at this, I'd say this flat area against the face would kind of be that in-between color. So I'm just going to go and get that just where her cheek is. So you can see it's a mid-gray. Let's go and put that in the middle. So I've got 3 colors, the darkest, mid, and light. So last week we were only working with the 3 colors, but we're just going to extend it a bit today. Now let's go and get the color in between this color, middle color, and the light, the lightest color. And I'd say, where is that? I'd probably say kind of around, it's got to be lighter than this. So maybe just above the cheekbone, there's a kind of like a light area. Let's click in there. And let's see if that looks good. Yeah, that looks pretty good. We've got 3 going down here. That look good. And now we've got to do the same thing between the darkest black and the mid black. So if that's the darkest, that's the mid. I'd say around in her ear. So let's look in her ear. Look at that. That kind of looks like a dark gray, but not as dark as the eyes. Let's go click in there. And that should be darker. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So do you see what I'm doing? I'm looking at the darks and the lights, the first thing that I do. And I've made a palette. So all it is just black and white at the moment. Okay, so we all got that?
Yep.
And those are the only colors that we're going to do. And we're going to try and make this as easy and logical as possible. So we need a reference. So remember the reference that we used? We made and we saved a black and white picture of her. So actually what we'll do is we will use the blurry picture of her as a reference. So turn off everything and get the blurry picture of her. So we've got the blurry picture of her. That's all that's on the screen. Let's go and save that. So we're going to share it. That's going to go to iPhoto. So, and let's get on screen this image. So we've just got layer 5, which is the outline, and the blurry layer of her. And what we want to do is go and get that blurry layer, and we want to click Canvas and Reference and Image, and we want to import that image. There's the blurry one. So we did a lot to that. So what you should have is on your actual Procreate canvas, you have the image of the line tracing on top of the blurry image. And for your reference, you have only the blurry image. So that's good. All right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to have a study of these two. What we want to do is fill in these areas to the closest grey possible. So we could try and do this on our own, knowing that we've got, 1 to 5 areas of grey. But we're not going to do that. I'm just going to take you through the process of how you choose what colours they are. So speaking from last week, let's just take her face off. So we've just got that. And let's start with just a kind of brownish background, or what Josh is quite like there. Maybe a... Let's go and get a light blue background. So we're going to go around to blue. There we go. So I've got a blue, and I'm just going to make a new layer, and I'm going to fill that in with blue. Oops. I'll make it again. And move it all the way down to the bottom. So we've all got some kind of blue background.
Yep.
So once you got that blue background, we're now looking at her, and we can go in and fill in the blanks. So fill in these areas. So let's look at the darkest areas is on her neck. Let's go to our brushes. And for this one, we will use, this is going to be a painted effect. But first we have to lay down the colors first. So it doesn't really matter what brush we're using. We just want some kind of brush that's going to lay on the colors nice and thick for us. So I think we'll just go to gouache. Click on gouache. We want the opacity full. And make sure we are on a new layer right at the top. So we're getting a bit confusing with layers, but we're trying to keep it simple. So at the top, I put a new layer that I'm going to paint. And I'm going to test the size. Oops. Probably not in that blue. Sorry, I clicked blue. I'm just going to test any color. So get one of those grays and test to see. All right. So I might start in this area here, the biggest area.
Sorry, Rose, what brush are you using?
I'm going to fill that in.
Rose?
Oh, sorry. My sound was down a bit. Sorry, I can hear you.
What brush are you using now?
This is the gouache. It's in painting. Okay, and you've got all the greys, so test whichever grey you want. But we're going to be painting in this area. So we'll try and paint the largest area. And let's have a look at our greys. So we'll go to our palette. Okay, and that was kind of like a medium grey, wasn't it? So let's get that medium grey. Let's say probably was, I'm not sure whether to choose this one or this one. I might go a little, if I'm not sure which grey to choose, I'll choose the lighter one. So I'm going to go with that grey. So I've clicked on it, it's up here, and I'm going to go and I'm going to just paint that area. I'm looking now and I'm thinking, that looks a little bit light. So I'll change that. I'll go back and I'll use the medium grey. So there's it's the medium grey, the one in the middle. So I'm going to go paint in there and see my brush. I change my brush according to what size area that I'm working on. So for ears, I just want that to be a medium grey. And again, we're not going to go around and colour it just like this. We're going to try and keep the strokes all in one area. Short bursts, I mean. And colour a little bit at a time, because that's how you would colour with paint. Now, if you're a neat painter, you know, you can, like I am, see how neat I am. You can mess it up. It's however you want it. But as long as you kind of stay in these forms. Next one over is this little forehead area. This area here, I can see, yeah, it's kind of like well, it's grey, but it's kind of like a lighter grey. And let's go in and see that colour. It's definitely going to be lighter than this area, so I'm going to go for this grey. Go away, Suri. And then I'm going to colour in here, this area. Short bursts, however thick, thin you want, but as long as they kind of stay in that area. And just making sure you're all on the right layers. So we're colouring over the blue and over the blue pencil. Same for down in this area here. So we're just matching them up to the closest grey as you can get out of those 5 choices. Same with her nose. Her nose is probably that light grey. The nose underneath would be a darker grey than that. And the eyes, even though there's some lights and darks in there, I'm just going to do it all one colour, which would be that dark black. Now, just checking everybody's following me along.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have very limited colour choices, but we're just going to do the overall colour choice that we think would represent that area. And you can use your eraser, but again, use it in something a bit more organic. So you can go and erase. Using the gouache. Oops. You're constantly changing your brush. The side of her nose, it looks to be in the same kind of grey as I did for the side of her face. So it's like a big puzzle. And please shout out any questions that you've got as we're drawing. And for the neck, you can break it up a bit. You don't have to follow any rigid lines. You can see it's one area, but I'm just kind of going with the flow and trying to follow colors here. So is anybody stuck on that? No, you're just busily painting away. It's great.
Yep.
And anybody having confusion with what greys to choose? So sometimes we won't choose exactly the same as me. You may find something different, a bit more useful. Okay, we got 5 minutes left. I'll just show you the next steps that we do next. It all looks a bit awkward now, but it will work in the end. It's just developing your brain, training you what you're seeing here in shapes and in form. So that's your basic form. So you're basically just filling in the grays. But what that's doing is training you to see darkness and lightness. And that's really hard when there's color involved, because you may have two colors, for instance, a yellow and a red. But when you change that into black and white, they change, even though they're the same mix of the colors, they change within value. So in how dark they are. So even though the yellow and red are basically the same, you look at them as the same, but when they're changed into black and white, the colors get lighter and darker. And that's what makes painting really hard. So we're going to develop it into black and white first. And where this will go next week is, you can go ahead yourself. I'm going to take away the blue, so the blue line. So all that's left is just this here. And I'm going to duplicate it. And it's, twice as dark, or I can get rid of it, however you feel comfortable. So I'm going to duplicate this first one. The next thing we do is then put the mask over it. So again, so it's right on top, but I've got something a little bit darker. And then I can go in and fill places like the eyes. So let's look at the eye here. What we can do is we can change our references. So I want a picture of the eye. Oops. On the actual woman. So I'm going to take away this. And here she is, still on the blurry, because the blur is important. And I can go and share that. And now let's bring this woman up. Import. Here she is again, and then go back to what I've got here. This one I don't need. So here she is, and then go in and find what I'm trying to find is these little areas here. That won't go larger.
Rose, try and tap on the corner on the sides with your fingers, like how you're trying to.
Almost.
And I find when I tap on that right hand corner, I don't know, just move it around.
Well, I'll show you this properly next week. But then once I have that, if this was larger, you could see. But what I'm trying to see in there is then I will highlight this area. Well, highlight, make it a bit bigger and try and draw within there with the pencil again in the blue, how this works. So I'm only focusing in this area and I can see, okay, there is the highlight of this area here. Here is some darkness, and just this area under here is the eye. So that's that basic shape. And then I go in and I get that grey that's in there. And you got to go on the right layer. Yeah, that's on the right layer. I'll merge that down. In the right brush, I know it seems all pedantic, but when you start doing this, you become like a machine. There's the gouache. Okay. You paint over that, that's light. in there. That's not as light here, so you can use a bit of this light pencil to paint over this area. And again, just a mix of using those same greys to go in. This is where the eye is. And it's kind of black. That's the side of her eye, that's black. And it goes around there. So that was done really fast. So when you take off all of these, what do you call it, like things that are holding you up, all of these, you start to get an image like that. And then you go all around and around and around, but that's training you how to paint, how to see what you're looking at. So yes, you are tracing a little bit and initially letting loose of those chains that are on you. But as you do that, that's getting you to see the different tones of things. And then when you do it again, you do it in color. That's another thing I'll have to show you next week, but it looks like nothing else, but trust me, it'll build up and you'll get this black and white image, which clearly shows you depth. And then you get the little tools once it's built up, like for instance, you can use a turpentine tool. And then when you've got all the detail that you want, you take everything away and you just start blending it into each other, which then looks like an oil painting. So it's just softening it up. But imagine there's more paint there, there's more information, there's more details. Do you get what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Yes.
So that's where we're going to go next week. And then after we finish it, I'll show you how to do it in color. We probably won't be able to do one whole one, but at least we'll get one started in color. So any questions?
Oh, it's good.
No? Okay, we'll see you next week. And if you want to, I'd say if you want to bring your own face, you can bring your own face, but it just might be easier to follow on this one that I've won. So if you want to come next week with your own face, make sure it's done in these steps and then we can carry on from there. Or if you want to, we'll just do the same face with me. All right, thanks everybody. I'll put this on there and I'll
Thank you, Rose.
Thank you. It's good.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Bye.